Hello from the south of Spain and from one of the most prestigious events in mountain bike competition. A distinctive landscape and a tough challenge for teams of two. This is the 2011 Andalucia bike race. Incorporating the provinces of Córdoba and Jaén, expect steep hills, picturesque landscapes and plenty of olive trees along the way. We can also expect to see the following entrants and international regulars challenging for the win.
And we are pretty happy, especially I think we are in a pretty good shape both, and we are looking for to winning this race, to looking for stage individual winnings, and especially the first day we have to check the courses and to get a little bit adapted to the courses and to the track.
One of the international teams in Andalusia were the Czech Česká Spořitelna duo.
To be honest, this is going to be our first racing, like hard racing, so first intensive kilometers and so on. So we are not definitely sure what we can expect, but we will definitely fight for the podium. So I hope we will do good.
The paddock's Danish presence consisted of the T-Bikes team looking realistically at their chances.
Yeah, my expectation is of course high, but after seeing the start list, you have to adjust your expectations. So I think we can go top 5 from the men's team. But it's a long race and we have to see, it's early in the season, and we're not totally sure of our condition yet.
However, home advantage makes Spaniards Orbea the main favourites. We are favourites, believe it or not. We are a strong team that could win the race, but it is not our main goal. We will try to fight for it, but we know that we aren't at our best. Before the event got underway, the riders were briefed at the official race hotel in Córdoba. And then it was off to the first stage of the Andalucia bike race, setting off under the shadow of Córdoba's landmark Mezquita. 172 riders participated in the Andalucia bike race, and one of them, Julian Absalon, is doing so as a VIP guest. His positions will not count towards the overall standings. The first peloton was formed just a few kilometres into the race, with Ralph Naff and teammate Hermida taking an early lead for Multivan Mérida. It was not until the first major climb up the Sierra de Cerro Muriano, however, that the competition really split. The Multivan Mérida team made their push into the lead 2 spots, followed by the Hispano-Luso team of Roberto Heras and giants Marcos Serrano. The race reached its highest point with the Multivan Mérida team still leading the way, and from then on the stage converted into a downhill run. The Czechs pulled into second place. Marcos Serrano had technical problems, and Hispano-Luso's Alejandro Díaz de la Peña and Frenchman Julian Absalom also pulled into the podium spots. The Orbea team were still there, but were starting to lag. A final effort from Hermida and Naff used their speed to make their mark in the final section of the race. They crossed the finish line first by some distance.
You know, we pushed to the end, and especially me, that 10 kilometers to the finish, I exploded a little bit, and then it was Ralph Naff. He had to push me a bit to finish, but finally we got it, and pretty happy. You know, in the team, we are satisfied with our performance today.
Behind them, favourites Orbea and the Česká Spořitelna specialised team found themselves evenly matched on day 1. They were only separated on the final 10 kilometres. Orbea edged ahead of the Czechs and held on to their position until the end. Riders Ruzafa and Lejarreta took advantage of their rivals' tired legs to overtake and occupy second place. standings after stage 1, Multivan Merida in front ahead of Orbea and Česká Spořitelna Specialized. A notable participant in this year's event is Dakar Rally motorbike champion Mark Coma, who teams up with Pau Bartolo to take on a different challenge. And keep an eye out for the T-Bikes team in the upcoming stages. They look to build on 6th place from stage 1. Also a brief look at the women's competition dominated in the opener by the Topi Ergon team. Stage 2 is a 75-kilometre long route through Cordoba with a series of tough climbs to split up the field. The opening 3 stages of the 2011 Andalucia bike race all take place in Cordoba. The opening moments of stage 2 were almost a direct repeat of stage 1, as the Multivan Merida outfit proved to be one of the strongest in the competition. The first of the big climbs would again split up the pack. It was on the flattest part of the stage that the peloton emerged this time around, as the leaders sprinted away in a pack. That gave them some breathing space for the next part of the stage. Heading along the canal, Julien Absalon was in the lead. Not content with just a cameo appearance on his VIP entry, remember the Frenchman's points would not count towards the final standings. The Multivan Merida team used the ascent up Puerto Artafi to make their imprint on the race. They edged ahead of the 2 members of the Orbea team, Rusafa and Lejarreta, and the French rider from the Orbea team, Absalon. Czechs Hynek and Budny were also along for the ride. Absalon still led the way, followed by Multivan Merida, Orbea and Česká Spořitelna Specialized. Absalon had taken the lead over Multivan Merida in one of the trickiest and most demanding stages. The final descent was the trickiest part, the much feared Cuesta del Reveton. Absalon finished first, ahead of Ermida and Naf.
Especially the last downhill, it was a pretty dangerous one, really rocky, roughy, a lot of water, and was pretty dangerous. So the guys that we are fighting for the overall, we just took it easy, more or less without risking, and Absalon, he just got a gap of a couple of seconds, but we're still there fighting for the overall, and now we have to check for the Orbea guys and the Czech guys, that in the next days they will be the enemies, more or less.
A great result for Absalon, but of course his results did not count in the overall standings. Multivan Merida still lead. And still leading in the women's competition, the Topi Ergon racers. They won the second stage through Kristi Norgard and Sally Bigham. Day 3 and stage 3 of the Andalucia bike race had a similar stage length to previous stages. It was the last to finish in Cordoba. Beginning the third stage, the big question was who could stop the Multivan Merida team. Their biggest adversary would prove to be the landscape itself, as rider Ralph Naaf was suffering from injuries to his back and legs. His problems meant he couldn't race as normal, and he and his teammate had to slow their pace and see how the other riders did in front of them. They finished down in 11th place.
Yeah, I felt it in the beginning, and I didn't feel the leg anymore so good. and had no more power, and so we decided to take it easy to try to finish the stage. It was really hard in all the rocks because it's still really technical, and when you have a problem in your body, your technical skills, they are not as good as they should be. So we will take now, I think, the decision together with the physio what we will do.
Whilst NAF was struggling, other teams were having a breakthrough on stage 3. Hispano-Lusos Alejandro Diaz de la Peña and Luis Leao Pinto showed their strongest form. The Czechs were also in it, third overall after Orbea's Spanish side. Orbea led the race on arrival at the first peak of Cerro Muriano, with the chasers close behind. Halfway through the stage and after the first challenging climb, they were then quick on the descent. Two skillful riders took advantage of the downhill section to move to the front of the stage. Rusafa and Lejarreta arrived at the finish line first. We have taken an important step towards winning the race, but a mistake can make you lose 5 minutes or 50, and then your advantage slips away.
Tenemos mucha ventaja ganada y lo único que tenemos que hacer ahora es no perderla.
The members of the Hispano-Luso team and the Czechs of Česká Sporitelna Specialized crossed the water fighting for second position. They had to go down the demanding Cuesta del Reventon before hitting the finish. Budny and Heineck left Diaz de la Peña and Luis Leao behind to cross the finish line in front. It also meant that they moved up to second place in the standings behind the Orbea team. Meanwhile, in the women's competition, Christine Norgard and Sally Bigham took their third consecutive stage win. They were well out in front, ahead of the Spanish team of Sandra Santañez and Isabel Castro.